Lamar Jackson has had an MVP award on his resume, but he's been less than stellar in big games so far. He's already had 2 forgettable playoff appearances, in addition to falling way short in his matchup with Patrick Mahomes earlier this year. Now he finds himself as a 4.5-point favorite against the undefeated Steelers, according to Fox Bet. So, Skip, how much pressure is on Lamar this Sunday?
A whole lot. But, Shannon, just for the record, before I launch on this is how much I love the Ravens that you once played for and how much I love this still young quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Okay. I picked them before the year started to win it all. But this is a big game for Lamar, in large part because he hasn't played great in big games. This is becoming almost a legacy game for Lamar, only because if he plays poorly again in another big home game, especially in his first matchup against Big Ben Roethlisberger, I'm afraid people are going to start talking. I'm afraid people are going to start asking the question, Lamar, why can't you live up to your MVP caliber status in the biggest games? Because what do we know so far about Lamar, who obviously did win last year's MVP? Well, he's played 2 home playoff games. He's pretty much stunk in both of them. The first one, you give him a pass for. It's his first year starting as a rookie. He had a QBR of 11 against the Chargers. They fell woefully behind. He played a little better in the fourth quarter, but the whole stadium was chanting for him to be replaced by Joe Flacco. And then here came last year the Titans, and they ran into a buzzsaw, did the Ravens, and they'd been off for the equivalent of 3 weeks. They were rusty. They weren't ready. But Lamar had a long, bad game, got sacked 4 times, turned it over 3 times. It was pretty ugly. And I don't know if people have gathered this yet, but he's faced Patrick Mahomes now. Lamar has 3 times, and he's lost all 3. And the biggest stage of those games was on a Monday night earlier this year. And they pretty much, the Ravens got run off their home field by the Kansas City Chiefs. And Lamar had a QBR of 40 in that game, but it's not very good. It's below average. His QBRs against Mahomes have averaged 57, which is just barely above average. So, Shannon, here come the Steelers. They lead the league in sacks. They're number 1 in fewest yards allowed on defense. And meanwhile, the Baltimore defense is ranked number 1 in fewest points allowed. So you have 2 really good defenses, really good. You have an arch rivalry, as you know better than anyone. Yeah. And Lamar, you're going to have to make some plays because Ben's got 3 receivers, really 4, and this Chase Claypool is turning into a star for him. Obviously, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, they got firepower. Big Ben will turn it over, but Lamar is just, their passing game is struggling so much they've fallen to 31st in passing yard. 31st? Yeah. And it got so bad this week, Shannon, as you well know, they had to reach for blast from the past. Our man Des Bryant is now on the practice squad just in case they can get him ready and need to elevate him to give them some semblance of firepower in their receiving core. So, boy, it's another tough spot. We just talked about Tua being in one, but Lamar better rise and shine. He's going to have to make some plays, legs, arm, however he makes them, to win this game, or people are going to talk.
Skip, you're right. And the thing is about people asking the questions whether or not Lamar can win the big games. As long as Lamar doesn't start to ask those questions of himself, can he win the big game, he'll be just fine. Skip, if you remember the first time that he faced Mahomes, they actually should have won the game. Yeah, Mahomes had to complete a 4th and 10, and he threw it 30, 40 yards down the field to Tyreek on 4th and 10, and he completed a touchdown on 4th and 3. So it took 2 4th downs in order for Mahomes to win. That was really the only game that he should have beaten Mahomes. But you're absolutely right. And the thing is that Lamar is going to have to win this game by throwing the football, Skip. And teams are what they're doing, what we're starting to see, Skip, is that, we are not going to let you run, Lamar. And he's going to get some yardage. But in order to be successful long-term and to win games like this, he's going to have to throw it.
Yep.
And the Steelers do an unbelievable job of stopping the run. Now, we saw what they did against Derrick Henry. It's a little different with the quarterback, and they have 3 running backs. Dobbins, they have Ingram.
Yep.
They have the other, I forget the other guy's name, that can run the football. But Lamar is averaging like 180 yards passing. And as you mentioned, they had to reach out to get Dez to bring him on the practice squad. That's not enough. You don't win championships in the 2000s throwing for 180 yards a game. The game is set up for you to pass it. Now, he offers a very unique dynamic because of his legs are so dynamic, Skip. But what we've seen is that when teams take that away, can he throw you to victory? And that's what the Steelers are going to, I believe, force him to do. If it's me and I see a guy that's mobile, I'm going to blitz him.
Yep.
Because, Skip, I need him to make decisions quick. I don't want him to run around and scramble and have guys do schoolyard drills where they uncover and all this other stuff. I need you to make rapid decisions just like this. And they have the guys that can do it. T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree. They have Cam Hayward.
Yep.
They have guys that can get after Lamar. So it's going to be a textbook, old-school Steelers-Ravens matchup. The thing that the Ravens can do that very few teams can do, they got 3 number 1 corners across the board. Jimmy Smith, Marlon Humphrey, and Peters. Now, Peters doesn't like to press, but you're going to probably need to press, Skip, because Ben has the quickest release getting the ball out of his hands, getting it into his receiver's hands, and letting them run after the... They need to stop something, just make him hold it just a little bit. They just got Ngakoue. Calais Campbell starting to pick it up. Go with Matthew Judon. So now this is the way to get Big Ben off of his spot.
Yep.
So I'm expecting a classic Ravens-Steelers matchup, but I took the Ravens in this matchup.
Likewise, I did. Now back to Lamar. Shannon, as we've discussed with Cam Newton, 2015, you don't win an MVP in the National Football League by accident.
No,
you can't fluke your way into it. The season's too long. It's
Correct.
too hard. Lamar Jackson flat out ran away with MVP last year.
Yes.
And I'm not writing him off. I want to be clear about this. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. But we have seen a pattern of big home losses. But do I think he's highly capable of outplaying Roethlisberger Sunday in Baltimore?
Sure.
Sure he is. And you know what? This kid is made of the right stuff. I'm talking about tough stuff, big moment. I believe he will rise and shine in this game, but it's time, and the clock is ticking. So I do think there's a whole lot of heat on him, and I think he'll deal with it.
Skip, I don't know if people remember this. He led the league in touchdown passes last year.
Yeah.
In a league with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, he threw more touchdown passes than all of those. So as you said, it's not an accident. If you have that level of consistency over an entire season, Skip, we've seen guys have a good month. We've seen guys have a good 2 to 3 games. This dude was unbelievable, and you factor in 1,200 rush yards. Yeah, he deserved that award. But in order for him, he's going to have to get better. He's going to have to take the next step like Russ did. Russ relied on his leg and a running game. He did. Russ progressively got better and better. And this is where I give the kid Kyler. I believe he's ahead of Lamar throwing the football. Yeah. And that's why, Skip, when these general managers that were polled, if you had to build a team with someone 25 years of age or younger, you would take Kyler because of his ability to throw the football. Yep. All is not lost, but Lamar knows he's going to have to get better and better and better if he ultimately wants to get what Brady got, what Mahomes got in that Super Bowl wins.
Well, obviously, I believe Lamar throws it well enough to go win a Super Bowl because I predicted that, and I stand by it.
All right.
Lamar can step it up this weekend, and someone who always shines in big games is Tom Brady. Has his magical October made him the new MVP favorite? Michael Vick joins us next.